Hey guys, it's Rachel and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a get ready with me that I am entitling something along the lines of my makeup progression. How did my makeup change over the years? And I'm starting with a bare face because I'm like, you might as well see me with my baby face on. And I'll tell you how I progressed through the years, and I am actually going to have photos for you to look at while we do this. I'm going to try to put them somewhere small so you can see them, but anyway, I'm primed, moisturized, and all that stuff, so I'm not going to tell you, like, I'll link it in the description box what I'm using, but I'm not going to talk through my makeup. I'm just going to talk about, otherwise I can't do both. Anyway, let's just go ahead and get started, shall we? Okay, so how did I even get into makeup in the first place? I remember being a young child. My mother wore makeup, not a ton of makeup, but she would wear, you know, your foundation, your eyeliner, and your mascara and things. I remember being an adolescent and begging my mother to let me wear makeup. I wanted to so bad, like you don't even understand how bad I wanted to wear makeup. And she made a deal with me, and she's like, you know, you can start wearing makeup when you're out of elementary school. You have to be out of elementary school, and that was 6th grade. So you have to be out of the 6th grade, and then you can wear makeup. And this was not like, we're gonna go buy you a whole bunch of crap. You know how when you're like 12. So I started to wear makeup like the summer 6th grade ended. I don't remember how quickly I dragged my mom to the store, but I was like, I'm wearing it. I'm practicing. I'm gonna use the summer to practice my skills. I think it was like Maybelline CoverGirl, you know, that kind of thing. Would only wear, and I don't have an actual picture here with me. I tried to look in, find my yearbooks and stuff, but they're buried in like some drawer, and it's too much work to get out. All I would wear would be, to start out with, I wore a liner, just like kohl liner on the bottom, and mascara. And that was it for a really long time. I think I tried to do the foundation out, you know, like the CoverGirl in the bottle with no pump and way back in the day kind of deal. Yeah, I didn't like foundation at all. And no lipstick or lip gloss. I didn't like things on my lips. So that was it for a really long time. And in fact, I kept that up all throughout high school. I think I eventually started to line the top of my eye as well. I kept that up through college, I think. And in college, most days it was just liner, mascara. I started to, and I have a picture of this, started to wear foundation. I didn't really know what I was doing with it. It never stayed. Primer was like a myth to me. And if you look at those eyebrows, I started to get my eyebrows waxed. Over waxing. Do you guys remember? Like, this is circa 2009, 2010. Oh my gosh, my eyebrows were horrible. They were so thin. It was, oh my goodness. I just overdid it on the eyebrows. That was horrible. But I was coming into my own with makeup. I wasn't obsessed with it yet, but I was starting to get better at it. Much better. Started to dabble a little bit in eyeshadow, just a tad. This would be like Maybelline, like single shadows or quads or something, like something super simple way back in the day with colors that didn't match what I was wearing. I was just practicing my skills, and some people made a comment. I remember this picture. It's at a wedding, and man I knew made this comment like that my eyeshadow didn't match my green dress. And his wife was like, don't mind him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And I'm like, yeah, apparently not. Thanks. But I started to get into shadow. I started to put a little bit here and there. Some shimmer on like the inner corners and more than one color. Mostly one color, but sometimes not. Sometimes it was more than one. And those were for like special occasions. Although I would bring it out for work. I'd started to student teach. So I started to play a little bit more with trying to look more professional, better for work and stuff. And I still wore the liner, I still wore the mascara. So starting to, you know, put all of that together. I started to get better. I had trouble with my foundation and keeping that on. Red faces all over the place. Up until I graduated college, really. I started to like, inner corner like was lighter than my outer corner and things like that. And people were complimenting me. My eyebrows were still way too thin. I kept it that way for quite a while. But I think at this time I had started to watch a little bit of YouTube. I really wasn't that knowledgeable about what YouTube and the beauty community was like and things like that. I had no clue. I remember watching Michelle Phan this is like 2010, like way back in the day. And I used some of her tips and tricks, but I mostly really just liked the way she talked, which this is like pre-ASMR. How kind and how lovely she talked. It relaxed me. And watching her put on makeup in this just lovely, sultry voice was just so intoxicating. It was amazing. And I would pick up a few tips and tricks along the way that I ended up using. But there was no like huge beauty community back then. It was pretty small. And she's the only one that I think I really remember. I know there might have been more than one, but I can't recall. It's been so long ago. They didn't really have that big of an impact on me, I suppose. So around that time, I'd gotten my first job teaching and started to have more technique with my makeup. I started to get a little better with it. I started to wear more foundation and some blush here and there. Eyebrows were a little thicker. I started to tame myself, I think, a little bit. I remember still having trouble keeping my foundation on all day, especially at work. But I wore makeup every day, so I was practicing. I was still wearing the liner, the old school liner and mascara. I think that's what I usually wore to school every single day, maybe, when I was teaching. But I started to, for special occasions, get a little more into eyeshadow game, as it were. And you can see in this picture, I'm actually helping, I'm at a wedding. I'm in a wedding and I'm actually helping the bride. I actually did her makeup that day, which was cuckoo bananas considering I was not near as good then as I am now. But that's the only time I've ever done somebody's actual makeup for their wedding, and I'm never offering that again. I've offered it before and the practice rounds went terrible, so I'm not doing that again. But she was like, yeah, you need my makeup. Luckily, she's gorgeous enough that it didn't matter if I was good or not. She ended up looking great, by the way. But I was starting to form, I think, this identity where people knew me as like the makeup girl, which I've talked about this before. I'm using Dominique palette, by the way. I kind of allowed myself this identity to form where in myself, not necessarily just the perception of others, but I believed it, where I was the makeup person in my friend group. People knew me from my makeup skills, which nowadays this is totally different because, you know, Instagram and YouTube have blown up and they weren't that huge at the time. This is like 2013, I think. But I'm starting to believe that that's what I'm good at. And so I'm practicing my skills with my makeup. Not a huge amount because I can't afford a whole lot of stuff at this time in my life. I didn't get paid a lot working at that school district. I liked it. Don't get me wrong. I loved teaching. But I was a first-year teacher and I was in a tiny, tiny town. They couldn't really afford to pay me a lot, so I didn't get a lot of makeup at this point. Like I barely had enough money. I mean, like, I'll tell you now, like, going out and getting frozen yogurt was like a treat for me at this time. So this is stuff I'm getting from like Walmart, and that's about all. Hashtag living the good life. I kind of got stuck in a rut a little bit. I wore makeup. I'm kind of dabbling into it. I'm more than anybody else that I knew. But putting it on every day and going to work, I'm just practicing before work every day. I think I started getting into setting sprays at this time to kind of make my work makeup last longer. And I think that kind of started me down a road of, well, let's look into this. Let's research this and see what do I need to do to make my makeup last longer. And I think that kind of opened up the doors for me to really start finding the beauty community. This is like 2014, I think. And I kind of went down a rabbit hole where that was concerned. I ended up moving and changing districts and going somewhere else. I was out in East Texas and I went to the Houston area. I got paid a whole lot more. So, you know, after bills and stuff, I had money to spare, and I didn't know anybody there, and I spent a lot of my time and my money with my makeup. I was watching YouTube. I think this is when I probably found like Jessica Braun, and maybe that was later. Anyway, Emily Noel, people like that. I started to get more into like the high-end stuff. Oh, like buying my first like high-end palette for myself. I'm starting to like do more techniques with my eyeshadow. I'm still wearing the eyeliner that I should not have been wearing, but I'm like perfecting this skill. So I'm putting darker things in my crease, and I am finding more complementary colors and palettes and better foundation, primer, and things like that. Because I moved to Houston and I told you my work makeup wasn't lasting very long. Well, then I moved from doing middle school to doing elementary, and I had recess duty. Holy cow, recess duty in Houston, you guys. All my makeup would be gone by the end of the day. Like, I sweated it off so bad. So I think I started looking for foundation that I liked. I went to Merle Norman and got this foundation, and I actually ended up really liking it, and I wore it for like a year. And I eventually, after a while, quit buying it. Got some better things in there. But I was starting to become like obsessed with this, spending way too much money on it, but I was getting really good at it. So I'm starting to like what I look like in my makeup. A little more glamorous. Things in the inner corner, that kind of thing. I ended up, again, I'm the makeup girl, right? And everybody knows that, and that's all I'm doing, spending my money on my makeup. I end up moving again, this time I end up moving to get married. And this is where things like really take off. This is when I kind of fell down the YouTube rabbit hole. I think this is when I found Jessica Braun, Emily Noel, Coffee Break with Danny. Everybody. I'm looking up videos on all this stuff. I'm not just wearing eyeshadow and liner and mascara anymore. Foundation, I'm wearing powder, I'm wearing blush. I got into bronzer, highlighter, lip products. I'm really looking into new releases and tutorials on new releases. And that's like, again, I moved, he's in the military, so I had no friends. And that's all I was doing. That was all I was doing, but I was getting really, really good at it, in my opinion, where I was coming from. And I was starting to really like the way that I look. Delving into like more of like winged eyeliner and techniques with your eyeshadow and things like that. Giving myself birthday gifts, and, you know, I'm starting to buy high-end makeup. Things like Too Faced and Anastasia and things like that. Started to fill in my brows awfully harsh as well. But I'm starting to document all of these things and take pictures because I'm so proud of the way that I look. I understand now what real makeup obsession is. And I embrace it. I embrace it wholeheartedly. I'm gonna go put my liner and mascara on off camera and fix my hair, and I'll be right back and we will finish this up. All right, so here I'm back. My makeup skills were getting much better. I was starting to really, I wasn't using the eyeliner anymore on the bottom. I was using eyeshadow, which kind of softened up my look a little bit. I was wearing my eyebrows much thicker and prettier, in my opinion. And then we moved again, so we got restationed. And I went from teaching to subbing. Started to dabble a lot more into color and perfecting that side of things. And that's when I started my Instagram as well. So I started getting into lip products. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my pictures. Started getting into lip products, and I'm watching YouTube heavily still at this point. And then I'm all sweaty from like straightening my hair. I actually went on my no-buy by that time. So to sum it all up, I went from like just liner and mascara from this to this. My progression went very well. I know that there was some like my makeup progression pictures going on. I have one on my Instagram a long time ago. But I thought I would, you know, today just kind of get ready with you guys and show you how that worked out for me. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe before you leave, and I'll catch you guys later.